This weekend in San Francisco, the CEO of the $5 trillion company selling the shovels of the AI gold rush sat down in front of a room of founders and casually revealed which AI coding agent is running autonomously, unattended, all over NVIDIA. Then he named the single biggest breakthrough agents still need, out loud like a free startup idea. The full talk is 49 minutes. We watched all of it, pulled the 7 moments that actually matter if you build with AI, and fact checked his boldest claims against real data. Some of them are off. Moment 1 is the reveal.
True founder mode.
Yeah, founder mode. Founder mode could scale for 34 years.
That's right.
From 0 to 5 trillion. No evidence, no.
That's Jensen Huang at Y Combinator's Startup School this weekend, interviewed on stage in front of YC's hand-picked founders. The full talk is linked below, and it's worth your 49 minutes. Here's what most people will miss. The interviewer asks how NVIDIA thinks about agents. Jensen starts answering, and halfway through, he drops something that was never in any press release. Listen for it.
And then, of course, the second thing is I want to use agents ourselves to make NVIDIA go faster. And so we have, Boris is in the back, and we got Claude Code autonomously running in sandboxes all over NVIDIA, and that's really fantastic. And some people use Codex, some people use Claude Code, some people use Cursor, some people use Cognition. And we let kind of a thousand flowers bloom, let people select the tools that they want to use, and then we learn from all of that. And so the second part is just helping the company move faster, use the tools, and the more they use it, the more we're going to learn about how to make it work better in the future. And the last part is
Claude Code, autonomously, in sandboxes, all over the most valuable company on earth. And right before he says it, he name checks a Boris in the back of the room. If you follow Claude Code, that made you smile. But catch the second reveal hiding in there. NVIDIA does not mandate one tool. Codex, Cursor, Cognition, Claude Code, 1,000 flowers bloom. And the company learns from what people actually choose. The agent wars are not settled, even inside NVIDIA. That market is still wide open. Moment 2. Why does a chip company care this much about agents? His answer rewrites what software even is, and then he describes a file you probably have open right now.
I think, well, first of all, I need to understand agents because agents is the new software. And how is this new software processed matters a lot to computer architecture. And one of the things, speaking of agents, the fact of the matter is we kind of have course level recursive self-improvement already. And the fact that every time you use it, it improves the markdown files. Every time you use it, it updates its long-term memory, and the long-term memory is being processed, either compacted or turned into knowledge graphs or so on and so forth. It's being improved all the time, asynchronously. And so the agent's getting smarter.
Markdown files as recursive self-improvement. That's not a research paper. That's the memory file your coding agent updates after every session. Use the agent and the files get smarter. The files get smarter and the agent gets better. If you've been maintaining agent memory files and felt like you were just writing notes, the CEO of NVIDIA calls that loop the early form of self-improving AI. You weren't taking notes. You were training your stack. Moment 3 is the most valuable minute in the whole talk for anyone building an AI product. The man who sees every AI workload on the planet names the single biggest thing agents are missing. Free roadmap. Take notes.
When it comes up with a plan, I change one word in a plan file, and that one word makes a delta difference. Not complete difference, but specific difference. Maybe it's one pixel, maybe it's one triangle, maybe it's one component in a CAD file, maybe one layer, one via, one connection, and then it regenerates everything else. I think that level of control and that level of collaboration with agents will be game-changing. We don't need the agents to be 100% accurate, 100% high quality in order for us to use it. It could, literally be 80%, and then we help it the rest of the way, or it could be 99%, we help it the rest of the way. And so I think controllability is probably the single biggest breakthrough that we need for agents at every.
Fine-grained control. Change one word in a plan file and have the agent regenerate exactly what that word touches. One pixel, one component, one connection, not the whole thing. And he even hands you the acceptance bar. Agents don't need to be perfect. 80% plus a human steering beats 100% someday. Controllability, he says, is the single biggest breakthrough agents need at every level. If you're hunting for what to build next, that is the richest man in AI writing your spec on stage. Quick pause. If this is useful, follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Want to back what we build? Become a member on YouTube or a subscriber on Facebook. That's the ask. 4 moments left. Moment 4. In January, an Austrian developer named Peter Steinberger open sourced an agent called OpenClaw, and it became one of the fastest growing repositories in GitHub history. Here's what the CEO of a $5 trillion company saw in a free side project. And note which 2 AI tools he tells everyone to use.
When I saw OpenClaw, my first thought was, well, first of all, I learned about it, and then without much imagination, you just realized we just designed the modern computer. This is the operating system that's going to hold a large language model, and in a lot of ways, OpenClaw to me was very Linux moment to me.
Yeah.
And now everybody, and you could of course, and I encourage everybody to use cloud services as much as possible. Everybody should use ChatGPT and Claude, and right, everybody should use that. And
A Linux moment, the operating system that holds a language model. NVIDIA didn't just applaud. Jensen called Steinberger and told him, all of NVIDIA's engineers are your engineers. They shipped NemoClaw, a security layer around it. They back Hermes, the self-improving open agent from News Research. And when the $5 trillion CEO names the tools everyone should use, he says 2, ChatGPT and Claude, by name, on stage, at Y Combinator. Moment 5 is the claim that will be clipped everywhere this week, usually without anyone checking it. We checked it. First, hear him out.
the narrative about AI destroying jobs is exactly backwards. AI eliminates tasks. AI automates tasks away, but it doesn't necessarily eliminate jobs. And the reason for that is because the job of a person has a purpose, and that purpose has many tasks. Some of those tasks could be automated away. Many of those tasks cannot be. And so the evidence suggests that here we are, we've automated coding, which is a task, but the job of a software engineer appears to be growing, right? The number of software engineer jobs year over year has increased 10%. The task of reading radiology scans has been automated, but the number of radiology jobs has increased some 20% in the last several years, even though AI has taken over the whole field. And the reason for that is because the backlog of patients is incredibly high. Now doctors and hospitals could admit a lot more patients. In order to admit a lot more patients, you need more nurses, more...
Here's the honest scorecard. He said software engineering jobs grew 10%. The Philadelphia Fed's posting data actually shows developer openings up about 14% year over year, and a Federal Reserve paper confirms more people held software developer jobs in 2026 than the year before. He said radiology jobs grew 20%. The tracked number is closer to 17, with average radiologist pay now $571,000, up 9% in a year, because half the open positions can't even be filled. So his exact numbers are a little off. But the direction is dead right. And that's the part that matters. AI killed the task, the backlog exploded, and the jobs grew. Moment 6. A student asks what to learn now. His answer starts by throwing the entire software industry under the bus, including the skill you're probably proudest of.
And the thing that the big takeaway is, of course, the simple stuff is going to get automated away. And when I say simple stuff, I mean software, coding. The idea that you would solve a problem by sitting in front of a computer and you're actually writing code. That concept is obviously going to get automated away. I think all of that still exists. And the better you are at systems thinking so that you could orchestrate millions of agents solving problems autonomously, the better off you are. And so that's why systems thinking is going to be so important.
Coding, he says, is this generation's long division, the mechanical part that gets automated away so you can be more ambitious. What compounds instead is systems thinking. Where does information flow? What's the constraint, processor, memory, or network? What breaks at scale? Because the job stops being write the function and becomes orchestrate a million agents that write the functions. The hard sciences stay. The intersections stay. The typing goes. Moment 7. The last question was, what would you tell your 22-year-old self? This answer is the reason the video is called what it's called.
And truth be told, it is way harder than you think. But you don't want your mind to be there. You want your mind to be, how hard can it be? And let the suffering come to you a little bit at a time. Don't imagine how hard it's going to be and let all of that turn into anxiety and not doing something about it. You want to imagine in your head, how hard can it be? I got a bunch of AI agents helping me anyways. And so how hard can it be? And then you get going on working on it. And so that's probably the advice, that it will be hard. And you just have to have the resilience to overcome it every single day. You don't have to overcome life in one day. You just have to overcome that morning. You have to overcome today. And so it's not a big deal. Just get through today. Work towards tomorrow. Keep following your dreams. And the rest of everything, if you stick with it long enough, NVIDIA happens. And so, I think the wisdom that I can, there's anything, is resilience is probably the single most.
7 moments. Claude Code runs autonomously all over NVIDIA, and no tool has one yet. Agents are the new software, and your markdown memory files are the early self-improvement loop. Controllability is the biggest open problem, and an open startup idea. Open source is having its Linux moment. AI kills tasks, not jobs, and the real data backs the direction. Learn systems thinking, because coding is the new long division. And when it gets hard, how hard can it be? Let the suffering come one morning at a time. We condensed all of this into the Jensen Brief, a free PDF with every quote from the talk, time-stamped to the full video, the fact check with sources, and a 1-page action list for builders. Comment the word Jensen on this video, and our assistant sends it over. Or grab it at hyperautomation.co/free/Jensen. Real talk. 90% of you watching haven't subscribed. On Facebook, subscribe is the supporter button. That is what keeps the lights on here. On YouTube, it's free, and it tells the algorithm to send you more. Subscribe to support us. If you're just getting started with AI coding tools, the beginner guides are linked below. The complete Claude Code guide, the Codex guide, the Co-work sales guide, and the architect prep kit. Step by step from zero. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram as Hyper Automation Labs. same name everywhere. And the next time something looks impossible, you know the line. How hard can it be? See you in the next one.